Oh, okay, all right. I was born in Market, Ohio. It's a little town northeastern Ohio. No one ever heard of it there. It's only 2,100 population that counting cats and dogs there. It's outside, just outside of Akron, Ohio. 10 years later, the stock market crashed. You think the economy was bad? It was really bad at that time. Go to the next one, please. No, it's not working. Well, let's just do without it then. We had bread lines, soup lines there. The economy was very bad. A lot of people were killing themselves there. The economy was very, very bad. We had bread lines, soup lines, any kind of a thing to get some food. People would go around with fruits, pick them up, trade them in for bread, meat, whatever they could. 10 years later, the stock market crashed. And after that stock market crash there, then 4 years later, Franklin Delano Roosevelt became president of the United States. He took over a very hard job. He created two different things. He had the WPA, the Work Progress Administration, and also CC camps, cutting down trees, planting new ones. It created jobs. About the same time, a man by the name of Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany. He was a greedy sort. He convinced the German people that they were the super race, they could do anything. They started taking over various countries in Europe. They were letting them do it. England and France would let them do it because he said that's all he wants, anything to keep peace. And he wanted more, he wanted more. After he got practically all of Europe, he wanted England too, start bombing England. We were not in a war itself, even though they're talking about war throughout the world. But we were not in the war itself. Germany had a non-aggression pact with Russia. They would not fight each other again. In other words, they were allies. That wasn't enough. England would not give up. Some of our people decided they would help. They were pilots, joined the RAF, Royal Air Force, helping with the United Kingdom, but we were not in the war. Over in the Pacific, Japan was taking over various different islands there. They needed the products that the various islands had. We were helping Japan by furnishing them with iron, various other supplies. That wasn't enough. We decided there that maybe we had better stop them a little bit. Some of our people start flying with the Flying Tigers or General Chenault over in the Pacific. But we were not in the war itself. It decided there that maybe Germany figured, well, England would not give up. If they invade Russia, maybe England would give up, they'd have all of Europe. So they started invading Russia. Germany didn't learn anything from Napoleon. Napoleon tried to do it, but the weather got to them. They didn't do so good. All these planes, tanks, men that went from Germany to invade Russia, but that many less that we had to contend with when we did invade, not the United Kingdom, but invaded Europe, trying to get back what Germany had already taken over. Now that Germany and Russia were enemies, we decided we would help them. We started a Lend-Lease program, furnishing supplies, guns, ammunition, food to Russia. We started sending merchant ships to Russia by way of Murmansk there up in the northern part of Europe itself. A lot of our ships were being sunk on the coast of the United States. We could see merchant ships being sunk by U-boats. From Florida, Georgia, Carolinas, Virginia, they could see the planes, see the ships being sunk. Oh, our higher-ups trying to keep us out of the war said, oh, maybe a few of our ships are being sunk, but we're sinking all kinds of U-boats, which is lies. Admiral King was one of the ones keeping us out of the war itself. even though a lot of our ships were being sunk, because we were not in the war, so the ships were not protected. Over in the Pacific, things are getting bad. We decided we'd start something there called embargo. We would not send any more supplies to Japan. That made Japan very unhappy. Putting an embargo on the things that they needed, they decided they would invade the United States by way of Pearl Harbor. A lot of the Japanese people were against it. A man by the name of Admiral Yamamoto, admiral of the Japanese fleet, was against it. But he says, well, you're all for it? We'll devise a plan. Now, most of our fleet was in Pearl Harbor itself. That was not a state at that time, it was just a territory. For our ships would be safe in Pearl Harbor from any attack that maybe Japan would have. If they only have to worry about is sabotage. Because the harbor itself is dredged to 60 feet. That would accommodate any big ships there that would go into Pearl Harbor itself. It'd be too shallow for torpedoes, because torpedoes, when they're launched, they come back down and come back and level off. They needed more than 40 feet for that, so they figured our ships were safe. That's why they figured all they have to worry about is sabotage itself. All airfields are instructed to bunch all their planes together, make it a lot easier to protect against sabotage, which made it really nice and easy when Japan send their planes in and just wipe out rows and rows of planes because they're all bunched together. Now, Admiral Yamamoto knew the depth of the harbor itself. He devised a flotation device on the torpedoes so that they would not sink down so far. They was able to use torpedoes in that Pearl Harbor itself. We figured there that since the strength of the Navy with battleships, we had 8 battleships in Pearl Harbor that day. We figured no one would bother to touch us because we were so strong with all the battleships, but we found out later the battleships were not the strength of the Navy, the aircraft carriers were. Yeah, Admiral Yamamoto figured if they do win the war, it'd have to be quick because they did not have the utilities and industry that the United States had. He was educated. He was trained in the United States there. He knew the industry the United States had. So I figured they better do it and do it quick if we're going to do it all. He was against aggression of the United States. They decided they would attack on Sunday morning. Sundays, at that time, the policy of the Navy was to train during the week. Go out, see gunnery exercises, various things there, be in port during the weekends. Have games, other things there, church services and all. I was always educated in the little town of Magdor. I graduated from high school in 1937. I was sports-minded. When I enlisted in the Navy January 21st of 1941, I was fortunate enough to get good grades, and I had some choices. They said, what would you like to do? I said, well, I'm not mechanically minded. I'd like to be someplace where I would not need mechanically minded to help me at all. They said, how you like to steer a ship? I said, that's fit for me. Because up to that time, the only thing I saw bigger than a ferry boat, it was in the movies. Never saw anything up close, because up there in northern Ohio, we don't have any big ships there. A ferry boat's about the biggest ship that you'd see up there. So I said, how you like to steer a ship? And that's for me. So it sent me to Quartermaster and Signal School in San Diego. After Quartermaster and Signal School, I still took tests. It says, what would you like? I said, I'm sports-minded. I'd like to be someplace where possibly have sports teams, especially football, because I played high school football and semi-pro football back in Ohio. So they said, you get on a big ship or a station, about any kind of big station, you had a chance for sports. So after I got out of Quartermaster and Signal School in San Diego, they assigned me to USS Pennsylvania. was a battleship, 608 feet long, 33,000 tons. I reported aboard it August 15 to 1941, joined the ship's football team. We had a real good team. I think we had 9-1 record at that time. We were scheduled to play USS Arizona for a fleet football championship, 1 o'clock, December 7th, 1941.